Senator Rennick.
Cheers, thanks, Chair. Hi, guys. I note Senator Goodell's comments before about it's illegal for farmers to talk about prices with other farmers. Is that correct? Like, can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, well,
a bit further.
With
so that's correct. You can't actually.
Yeah, it's collusion.
So that then leads to my next question: is why can't? Is it illegal then to have a cooperative to sell into?
Yeah, and bargaining powers. We do have bargaining powers as well, but look, it's very difficult. Everybody's doing, there's a lot of individuals, very, in different areas, growing same products, and they're difficult things to manage. That's why I think they haven't been as successful. You've got some that you've seen successful, but often then when you end up with great cooperatives, corporate comes in and you're back to only having the choice of going to a few people, and you've got, multi-million-dollar companies that you're trying to trade and negotiate with, and it's not an even playing field.
Well, that's exactly right. You've got a power imbalance.
Yeah.
So wouldn't by having a cooperative that was non-profit based, that was working in the interests of the growers, be able to have greater power back?
I think there's definitely there's room for that too, 100%. If we re-look at those and make those easier for farmers to develop and get up off the ground.
And so just going back to Senator Goodell's comments there, is it something you actually need permission to actually have a cooperative?
Yeah, you do for collective bargaining. You do, cooperatives. Yeah.
How many collective bargaining agreements would there be here in New South Wales?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. It'd be worth looking into. I'm not aware of many.
Because I find that very perverse, because I've been constantly fed all my life we live in a free market society, and yet you're told that you can't work with other farmers to get a decent price or protect your volumes and what you've got to produce because the government's stopping you from working together. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think there are so many small farmers out there, we're small businesses, that it's not feasible to bring them all under the same umbrella. So essentially, if you have an attempt to do that over here, you're just going to find that they are black banned or suffer some sort of repercussions, because they'll just go over to these guys over here and individually pick them up. And there's probably numerous stories of them picking off individual growers and slowly winding back someone who's actually pushed back against them or something. So or someone who's tried to perhaps start some sort of cooperative only to find themselves actually their own business suffering because they've had repercussions.
So what we really need is greater protections of cooperatives so that the big supermarkets can't punish you for working together to negotiate.
That in part probably goes to the special prohibitions that we're talking need to be looked at when it comes to legislation and regulations about the sort of practices that we need to specifically list are prohibited and which are probably not currently.
Okay, thank you. And then just last question, Chair.
I just wanted to respond to that question as well, if I may, Senator Renwick. We have collective bargaining with the poultry sector in New South Wales. We have permission through the ACCC to have established that. It's a fairly unique environment because with poultry, the processors own the birds, own the full supply chain. But that collective bargaining allows the growers to have a greater confidence in what they can actually engage in terms of price negotiations.
Yeah. I might just add, a poultry producer at a meeting we had last week, they get 75 cents. You all know what you pay for a chook. They get 75 cents for that chook.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a poultry producer get 75 cents for their chook.
To raise it to a certain
To raise it.
We can probably get some more detailed information. We're not exactly close.
So they get $7.50 to cook it.
Yeah. So just in regards to unfair trading practices, so we've obviously got long-term payments whereby the farmer gets paid after the produce has already been sold by Woolworths, so there's no cash impact on Coles on the supermarkets. We've got short-term cancellation of volume. Are there any other unfair trading practices you'd like to highlight?
So I think that the trading terms they are better, but you pay for them in rebates, and that varies. across industries, different sectors, it varies. So we're hearing from 3% to 5%, even higher. And sometimes the bigger you get or the more you trade with them and hit a certain dollar figure, all of a sudden, then you've actually got a higher rebate you've got to pay back.
So can you explain that rebate for the sake of Hansard?
So the rebate is basically it's the cost of doing business. And it's apparently the cost, and so when I was trading with them, that wasn't the case. But apparently I have heard if you want 14 days or 7 to 14 days, you can do that, but you will have to give even an extra couple percentage rebate to be paid earlier.
Right, so you get paid less just because you want to get paid earlier. Right.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Our submission actually lists sort of practices that are actually going on, and they're the sort of practices we're looking to have special prohibitions over, which includes things like short notice cancellation of perishable agri-goods, discounting goods because it didn't meet spec, but no explanation or no framework on how that will be discounted, so the farmer is forced to take it. And there's a whole lot of others actually listed in our submission, and they're the sort of practices we think need to be addressed.
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much, G.
Authorised G. Rennick, LNP Chermside.